Whenever I am reading a book, I read it with a lot of interest. But the problem is that I am not able to understand what I am reading. Another problem that I am facing is that I am unable to understand what the other person is speaking. What's the problem with me? I am reading English, but while communicating with others, I am not able to understand and convey the same matter to others in the same manner. Where is the mistake lying? If you are in this situation, please check out the video, and this video is right for you. There are a lot of issues discussed in this video along with the solutions. Let's get into the video without any delay. Hi, Namaste, welcome back. So, in this video, I am going to discuss with you some of the problems and solutions that are faced by some people. Not everyone, but some English learners who are not even able to understand what they are reading and what others are speaking to them. The first reason is that you are not reading books. Be an active reader. Read every day, at least 15 minutes, at least 3 pages a day. Read every day. So that whenever you read, whenever you counter a new word, you are going to add up that word to your vocabulary. Not only adding the vocabulary, what happens to your brain when you read is that your brain is going to understand. It will try to understand what you are reading. Understanding is not issued as a skill nowadays. But if you don't understand a matter clearly, how can you produce it to the other person, or how can you tell the same matter to other person in the correct way? Lack of understanding leads to misunderstandings, right? So make a habit of reading. During the process of reading, your brain nerves are activated and the action of understanding will take place in your brain. So eventually, day by day when you read, then you will be able to increase your understanding ability. The second reason might be is that you don't know enough words, you don't know enough English vocabulary. We have discussed in so many videos how to learn words and how to remember them, right? So check out that video in detail. It is very important to know at least minimum words to understand a language. So don't neglect this part. Make sure that you have all the words in your active state but not in the passive state. Okay? And one more thing why you don't understand is that the words when written is not the same when pronounced. For example, the word THUMB. We are writing it as THUMB. But how do we pronounce it? There, B is silent. We pronounce it as thumb. Thumb. B is silent. One more example for you. Laugh. Laugh. The spelling of laugh is L-A-U-G-H. But the pronunciation of that word is like L-A-F. Laugh. But it is G-H. So, whatever word we write is not equal or is not as same as to the pronunciation of that word. That is why we are getting confused and we could not understand what they are saying. There are a lot of such confusing words. We shall discuss them later. But what you need to do is that from the basic stage itself, make your foundation strong so that you learn all the spellings and the pronunciation and their meanings correctly. Okay? So this tip will be very useful to you. You need to adapt to your vocabulary, and at the same time you need to understand the pronunciation and practice it day by day so that whenever you listen it from the other person, you will be easily able to understand the meaning in which context it is used. The third reason is that you may be having very poor listening skills. What I mean to say is that you are not listening as much as you need. I told you so many times, you need to practice listening and speaking every day. You should not skip those two practices, right? Why? Because if we listen more and more, then our ear will be habituated to listen to it. It will be habituated to the sounds that are produced. In this way, whenever we hear that word, whenever we hear that pronunciation, we will be able to understand what the other person is saying. I have already discussed in one of my videos why listening is very important while learning a language, and I have discussed many ways of how you can improve your listening skills. Please check out that video and make the best use of it. Listening is very much important in order to understand what the other person is saying. I have told you many times that in order to become a good speaker, you need to become a good listener first, right? So try to improve, try maximum to improve your listening skills in order to improve your understanding skills. The next problem is you may be speaking very less, or you are not allocating specific time to speaking, or you are not practicing speaking as much as needed. If you speak out loud, you will be able to hear your own voice, right? You will be able to hear what is the pronunciation of the word. Whatever you listen, you make a practice, you make a habit of speaking it loud and listening with your ears. So in this way, you can develop your understanding skills also. You may not be able to understand each and every accent, right? In order to overcome this problem, you need to practice a lot. You need to listen to many accents, and you need to practice them by using shadowing technique or imitation technique, which are very useful to develop your skill of speaking and listening to. If you are habituated to listen to more accents, then it will be easier for your brain to catch up that word, catch up that pronunciation, and make you understand what the other person is saying. In this way, if you practice listening and if you allocate the required time to speaking, then automatically your understanding ability is going to improve day by day. You can also speak to others. They may be your friends, or if you are in any online community, make the practice of speaking daily and listen to the words they are saying, the way they are pronouncing it, and just make your ears to listen more. Listen more about the pronunciation, listen more about the words they are using, in which context they are using. So by practicing all these, your understanding abilities are going to improve. I am telling all of you people to learn basic phrases and idioms and learn them. Practice them regularly, because some of the speakers use a lot of simple English basic phrases in their daily life conversations. But if you don't know the exact meaning of what they are saying, you will not be able to understand what they are saying, because phrases are the blind sentences that you can use in a perfect context. If you don't know a phrase and the other person is speaking or using phrases regularly, then you can't understand what the other person is talking about. So at least now learn some of the basic English phrases. No need to learn all the phrases, because many of the phrases are outdated, but learn only those phrases that are used by people often. It will be very helpful to you. I have done a couple of videos on some of the basic phrases that I love to use. You can watch those videos and take the help of. The next problem is that you are not having anyone to speak English. This is the common problem that is addressed by so many of us, right? So the best solution to this is that you can find a language partner who also speaks English, or it will be more helpful if you find a language tutor who teaches English. A language partner is someone who will help you with the conversations. He or she will make you understand better about the concepts. They correct you, guides you in the correct direction, and they make you feel comfortable to learn English. So this is the best way. If you can afford, try some of the online courses where you can speak, where you can find English learners and English tutors like Cambly, fluently, etc. It will be very beneficial to you, because the more you are interacting with the native speakers or non-native speakers who can speak English pretty well, you would be able to improve your listening skills, speaking skills, as well as you can understand much better, because you will be habituated to speak to them. So the understanding ability is going to improve very fast by finding a language partner or a language tutor. The other reason why you cannot understand what other person is speaking maybe is that they are using a lot of contractions. Contractions are mostly used by English native speakers. For example, I will come, I will come. Like that, they use a lot of contractions in their daily life conversations. If you don't have any idea about what contractions are and at which situation they are used, we will definitely be confused and we cannot understand what they are speaking. So, make a habit of using contractions in your daily life. You can write down the contractions on a paper, you read them loud, listen them. In this way, whenever you are in a conversation, you will easily able to catch up the particular contraction and you can understand easily. If you lead the conversation, then you will be able to ask the questions that are required to you. Right, when you ask the question, when the other person is answering to you, you will be able to understand better. Did you get me? If you are leading the conversation, you are asking the questions, you will receive answers from them, right? So when you are putting a question, you can understand what the listener is speaking to you. It will be more easy to you to understand. If you are facing this problem of not understanding what others are speaking, you can try out this method, that is being prepared in advance. For example, if you are invited to the restaurant tomorrow, then what are you going to do is that the before day you are going to write down all the phrases and all the sentences on a paper and you are going to practice it. In this way, you are going to list out all the questions and the answers that will be asked the next day in the restaurant, like ordering a coffee or ordering food, asking them to pass the salt, like that. So, if you are prepared to face a particular situation, then while facing the situation, your brain will be activated and you can understand very simply. Because you are already prepared for the situation, you are familiar with all the words and the sentences that will be used, right? So, in this way, you can understand more better if you are being prepared in advance about the situation that you are going to face tomorrow. You can do this as a daily life activity. You can take a situation that are occurring in your life and write down your own sentences and be prepared. This is the best solution to understand better and answer instantly when the other person is asking you something. The gap between listening the question and giving the answer is very small. Within this small gap, you need to understand what the person is saying and think what you need to answer also. Right? So, in order to reduce the time you are using to understand what the other person is saying, you need to practice how to understand. You need to practice listening, you need to practice speaking, you need to get tuned with the words, you need to get tuned with the sentences they are using, you need to be tuned with the phrases, idioms. Your ear must be able to catch up the words quickly so that you will respond to them quickly. And one more tip is that whenever you read something or listen something, make a habit of telling to others, teaching it to others, or just simply narrating it to others in your own words. When you do this, you will increase your understanding capability of what you are listening and reading, and you will be able to reproduce the same context in the same way. In this way, your understanding ability is going to increase, because if you practice this process daily of narrating what you have learned to some other, then it will be a very good practice to your brain to understand things faster. Try to use your own words while explaining to others. When you are explaining in your own words, you are actually practicing how to understand a particular concept, right? So, try to use maximum of your own words while narrating it to others or explaining it to others, and you can definitely see the results of your understanding ability. The other problem maybe is that you are not using English more often or as much as you are using your native language. If I use Telugu more than English, then automatically my brain will be habituated to understand, think and reproduce in Telugu more than English, right? So what you need to do is that you need to practice how to think in English and how to speak in English and how to read in English and how to understand it also. You need to make it a daily habit. Whatever you read, when you are reproducing it, the understanding capability is going to increase. So in this way, you need to surround yourself with English but not in your native language. I am not saying that you should not speak native language. You should speak. It is such an honor to respect your native language. I respect Telugu a lot. But knowing how important to learn English and how important to improve this communication skills and learning how to speak English, we are forced to learn it. So, in order to achieve our goal, we need to use and do a lot of activities in English than our mother tongue. Create a learning strategy that is useful to yourself. Not only reading, not only listening, but after reading and listening, try to express yourself and get to know whether you have understood the concept correctly or not. How can you know whether you have understood or not? You have read a paragraph or listened to an audio. What I am going to do is, I will tell my brother to read the same paragraph and listen to the same story. Then, after 10 to 15 minutes, when I completed reading, I will explain it to him and he will explain it to me. then what happens? I am in the position of both speaker when I am speaking, and I am in the position of a listener when I am listening. When you both read the same content and expressing it, your understanding ability is going to improve, because I use some words which are not used my brother to express it. He may be expressing much better than me, right? So what I am going to do, I am going to catch the words, what words he is using, if I find useful, and I am going to practice them. In this way, when I find someone else is speaking the same words or using the same sentences, it will be very helpful and I can understand what they are saying very quickly. So you need to practice it. You need to make a strategy that is really working for you. There are a number of strategies nowadays. And one more thing I want to make it clear to everyone is that don't be afraid and stop the conversation in between, or don't be shy if you could not understand the other person. Be cool. It's okay. Ask the other person to speak a little bit slow, or you can use affirmative sentences like, did I get you? Did I catch you? Did you say that? Learn these type of affirmative sentences and daily used English phrases so that you can use whenever you are not able to catch the speed of the other person and when you are not able to understand what the other person is saying. Okay, you already know, I have told you so many times, the only key is to practice. The more you read, the more you listen, the more you catch up the words, catch up the sentences, catch up the phrases, get habituated to it, and the more you can understand and the more you can speak. So now I am going to provide you an exercise that I practice regularly to develop my understanding abilities. That is, you can select a topic. First of all, you need to select a topic. Then you need to read it 4 times. The first time when you are reading, just read it in brief such that you are able to get the gist of the story, just the general content of the story. The second time when you are reading, you need to go to the specific details of the story. And the third time when you are reading the story, pay more attention to each word of it and try to understand it. And fourth time when you are reading, read it aloud and practice the pronunciation of the word. If you do this exercise daily, at least for 10 minutes, it's okay. You can take a small paragraph and practice it. Just 4 steps. You need to select a topic that you are interested. Second is that you need to get the gist of the paragraph. Third one is that get into the specific details. And finally, the fourth step is that you need to read it loud and get the pronunciation of the word. In this way, whenever you are going to listen the word or the sentence when someone is speaking, you can understand it more quickly. If you are facing the situation of not able to understand what others are speaking and not able to understand what you are reading in English and you are not able to tell to anyone, you can use these tips and improve your understanding abilities. I hope this video is useful to you, and see you soon in the next video. Thank you for joining me. If you like the video, please put it in the comment section and you can give me feedback also about my presentation. Don't forget to like, share it to your friends and family members who are very eager and enthusiastic to learn how to speak English fluently. And finally, don't forget to subscribe the channel.